Memphis has the ball back and the offense ready to go to work. They have the lead to start the third quarter, but I'd imagine ball security was a topic at halftime.
Yeah, and I think
quarterback tried to scramble around for a while, but the defense able to bring him down. Didn't make it any easier on themselves on first down. Now second and long from the 21. Stacked up after gaining a couple to the 23. They line up with some serious work to do if they want to convert this one. On third and long, trying to have a big completion here. And they get to the quarterback and knock him down back at the 16.
Well, this defense knew they had to get off to it.
Offense set on first down. Use the play fake, now to throw. Trying to get to it. Hit hard as he released the ball on that first down pass, and it never had a chance. And the incompletion brings up a second down for this offense. Trying play action. They're bringing heat. And he was hit just as he was releasing the pass, and it falls to the ground incomplete. They're going to keep this drive going. They'll have to make a play on third and long from the 26. A strike downfield. And they'll finally catch up to it, but not before a big chunk of yardage is picked up. The offense setting up shop at the 46, first and 10. The give is to Smith. At the 40, there he goes. And there they go again, another huge gain on the ground. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half.
Yeah, defensively, you better be ready to run east and west when you're playing against this offense in their running game. That time, the offense was able to outflank the defense to the right side.
You want them now?
And a 9-yard gain on first
My hand
down.
washing TV. That couch is comfy. I put on the
What the fuck is on your shirt?
Probably pizza sauce, man. You a little bit of pizza
That's
sauce.
fucking gross. That's my shirt.
I know, I'm not taking a shower and I'll wash it. Okay.
Don't wear my shirt. How many fucking times have I told you to stop wearing my clothes?
Okay.
I'm sick of you ruining my shit.
Headed to the end zone, and he walks. Here comes the offense on first down. They'll come out on this drive and let it rip. Gets away. Trying to make magic on the scramble. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. Second down coming up. He'll ride his man on the option. Now the pitch. Just enough there to get it to the 25, a pickup of 2. Probably the toughest call on the play sheet. Third and long. Ball's at the 25. Quarterback now breaking the field. The ball's free. Defense coming up with a huge fumble recovery. And he's brought down, and this defense gets the ball back for its own. Here comes that Memphis offense back onto the field. That last drive and the turnover, not what you're looking for when you have the lead, Jesse.
Yeah, I think for them, it's just staying out of their own way. They're making plays, they've got the playmakers to go and win this game, so it's just a matter of executing better.
executing better, understanding I still got the lead, put a drive together here and build on that lead.
After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line, 2nd and 7. Play action. And he was hit just as he released it, and it falls to the turf. They'll come to the line at the 42, facing a 3rd and long. Fires left. He's got an open man. And another big game for this offense. They're putting explosive pass after explosive pass up in this one. Memphis just keeps moving the chains on this drive. They're set up with another first down. He'll try to do it himself. And the strategy of just letting the quarterback run until he gets tired is not a winning one. Another explosive play and another first down. The Tigers come to the line with a new set of downs. Coming after it. You'll take 4 yards on first down every time, 2nd and 6. It'll be 2nd down, and remember, they can pick up a first without scoring. Here's the handoff. They get him on the ground. He picked up about in the red zone, but they can pick up a first down without scoring. Third down. They get him on the ground, but it's a first down. On first and goal, let's see if Memphis can get it in the end zone. Fires to the end zone. And that is interception number 3 on the day. And the offense makes the tackle in frustration after the interception. Looking for a productive play on first down. He's going to pass. Looking deep. And that'll be incomplete, man. That would have been a big hitter on first down, but second down's coming up. Couldn't make the connection last time. Let's see if they throw it again. Looking downfield, it's Kane. Zings incomplete to the right.
I want to get my running backs the ball in space as much as possible. And sometimes it doesn't work in the running game, but I can throw it to him.
What are you doing on the phone last night, Nathan?
Well, no more phone.
Let him make some catches and see if I can't get some big plays out of him.
I laid on that couch and went to bed.
You were in the back for a long time last night.
Well, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
First down here for the offense.
You were in the bathroom for an awful long time last night.
I wasn't in the bathroom at all last night.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to be left out.
Makes the quick grab.
Well, no question. They've got to score a touchdown to get the 2-point conversion here.
I don't remember going to the bathroom last night.
You're lying. You're lying. That couch fuck.
Want to get that momentum.
I'll fix it.
The defense on their heels.
Right now.
I'm going to the store so I can make dinner? No, I need to make dinner now. It takes hours.
I would have went to the store instead of going to the gas station.
Well, who told you about all those snacks from the gas station? Mine wasn't $40, nigga.
Mine was expensive too.
Easy.
That's a nice couch.
Here's your vape pod.
It's long.
Move that vape pod. And move this, put this over so I can lay on it. Help me. Help me.
Let me go slow.
What are we having for dinner?
Let's see some chicken or something.
I say some pot roast, mac and cheese.
I don't want nothing too heavy. I'm going to try this some more. It's too hot.
Well, we can eat early.
Huh?
Well, we can eat early. No. Where's the remote?
It was up here. It was up here.
Give me. No.
The remote's right there. Grab it, babe. Move to the left 5 inches. Move to the left 5 inches. Here's your remote.
They ordered it, I can't breathe. I get winded easy. You bring me something to blow my nose in? Like, there's a roll of toilet paper or something over there.
Oh, tissue.
That's not enough, Nathan. I don't know. Okay.
He's run out of bounds, but he's got enough to move the sticks. The offense will put it in play from the 47 on 1st and 10. He's looking to throw it. They're trying to get to it. And incomplete on the deep ball.
You know, I feel for this offense, if they're going to get back in the game, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it with chunk plays. They're going to have to be methodical and generate some first downs and march down the field.
This one's complete. Really confident throw and catch there. Big pickup, and they have a first down. New set of downs after that completion. He wants to throw it again. Caught in the backfield of Hawkins. And a good job of coverage by that defense on a short pickup. They'll operate on a split back. He's going to pass on second down. Going to try to pop one on the screen. And he'll step across the sideline after making a good gain on that one. Ball shortcoming defense trying to rise
Why do I
up.
have to sit out here?
He'll toss it.
Why do I have to sit out here?
That one did not go well.
Hello?
Tackled in the
Huh?
backfield,
Why don't you
loss
sit
of
out
6.
I'd like you to sit out here to hang out with me.
I'm not hanging out with you. I'm watching TV when you play your game.
Offense getting set. for
Well, what was you going to do in your room?
Tell you over here.
They'll run the RPO and pull it right. Really nice job there by both guys to throw and the catch to work that defense and get the first down. Offense working from the pistol. Going up top on first down. Makes the grab outside. It's Hawkins. And he'll run across the sidelines after the good gain. After the first down completion, it's 2nd and short. He'll throw it quickly out to the tight end. Tackled after picking up the first down. Fresh set of downs after the completion.
Chill with the one viewer.
Play action on first down. He's got the tight end.
That's why they got to keep running the football game.
Like this career, I started off on Army and now I'm on Memphis. Kind of struggling, but my dude's doing good. My team just sucks.
What a good run there. He has enough for the first down. Memphis hoping to take advantage of this red zone trip. Smith takes the handoff. Not much running room. He's got one down to the 12. Operating in the red zone here on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Can't quite cross the plane to get to 6, but they'll have the first down. This offensive scoring position with a fresh set of downs. Turning to the running game on 1st and goal. And he takes it in for the score. Touchdown, Tigers.
This guy just has a nose for the end zone, and you love his ability to find creases, use his speed in the open field, and go score. He's been really good for his offense early this year. That already his 5th.
They're backed up, 1st and 10 from inside their own 5. Let's see if they can create some space. Leaves it with the back. They'll pick up 4, 2nd and 6 coming. Time out on the field, and everybody want to make sure they're organized as we come down the gun of the game. Wants to throw. It's Kane. Knew where he wanted to go with it, but couldn't find his target. It's incomplete. Couldn't find his man last time, and that leaves him with a 3rd and 6. Quarterback adapted. He'll pull it down and run. He showed it all there. A little elusiveness, a little power, and he's got the first down.
Gonna blur that bitch.
To the line and get set. Wants to throw on 1st down. He lobs one high down the left side.
Yes, sir.
And he's got it inside the 25. Timeout called by the offense. We have 18 seconds left. When we get to the offseason and they start having coaching clinics, they're going to roll this game tape back to show both offenses.
Dial it up and let it run. I mean, that's essentially what we saw in this game. It didn't matter what either offensive coordinator was calling. Everything seemed to work. Throwing the football in the intermediate passing game, the RPOs, the run game. This was just offensive football.
And offenses have evolved so much. They can do so many different things, and they know how to use their playmakers, get speed and space, make those big plays. So that's why offenses are ahead of defenses in this game. It was no different.
That's going to do it for us from here. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, I'm Reese Davis, and this has been another...
Get crunk with it. Get loose with it. XO say he all that. It's cool when they do it. Problem when I do it. Fuck 'em.
Where the fans have moved the party from Field Street and are ready for kickoff. Conference battle in the AAC. As we'll see, the UTSA Roadrunners taking on a team who is rested and ready, coming off a bye, the Memphis Tigers. Glad to have you with us for EA Sports College Football. I'm David Pollock and Jesse Palmer with me in the booth. A first down for the offense. The give is to Smith. Smashes through. And he'll get it up to the 38. It'll be a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Trying to find his man on first down. Looking left. Got his man. Plenty of room on that play, and they find their way to the 36. After that completion, move the sticks, it's first down. He wants to throw. Quarterback moving out of the pocket. And he's going to be taken down, but there's a penalty flag on the field. Holding penalties, the ultimate drive to either side of the quarterback. Dropping back, it's Kane. The throw to the outside is complete. And he's down after the short completion. He did not make it to the first down marker. Line getting set on second down. Lets it fly deep downfield. Snagged in the end zone. First down for this offense. They're going to throw it to start the drive. He tosses one high and deep down the left side. It's complete. A huge. The offense set for a first down play. Looking to move it through the air. Buys a little extra time. At the 35, he's loose. They finally corral him, and he turns that into a big gain and a first down. Just nosing into enemy territory at the 49. It's first and 10. He's going to pass. Got it on the outside. It's Hawkins. And he goes out of bounds after a nice pickup on that one. Quarterback on the keeper. Brought to the ground, but not before getting enough for the first down. Memphis getting set to snap it on 1st and 10. He's looking to throw it. He lets one fly deep. And they won't be able to connect downfield, looking for a big-time play. After the misfire now on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Fires to the wideout. Almost had the completion, just missed it. This drive was clicking along, but after a couple of misfires, threatening to stall out on 3rd and 10. Quarterback feeling that pressure, and he's knocked down at the 42.
Yeah, that is a great job. And listen, these quarterbacks had success.
The offense lining up for a 1st down play. To the air, it's King. Pressure coming. Quickly to the tight end. And good coverage by the defense. Here comes the offense on 2nd down. They'll give it to the back. A strong tackle and wrap up from the junior. 3rd and short now. They snap it from their own 46. From the gun, wants to pass. It's on target and complete. That'll get the job done and move the chains, and they'll mark the ball to the 45. 1st down here for the offense. He'll do it himself. Makes a man miss. And they'll wrestle him to the ground after a short gain. And here comes the offense on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Caught near the sticks. It's Doyle. And he's brought down after a nice gain. This Memphis offense going to work again on 1st down. Pocket starts to collapse. Trying to make magic with his feet. Quarterback gets the 1st down and more. And he'll erase it to the out. On 1st down, here comes this offense. Running the options, it's King. They get it down to the 35 before he stopped. 10-yard pickup on the play, and it's a 1st down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. And maybe they want to try somewhere else because there is nothing doing in the middle of this defense. Got stuffed on 1st down. It's 2nd and 10. A little pre-snap eye candy for the defense. And he was drilled just as he released the pass. It's incomplete. They line up, and it is a long way to the sticks from here. He's moving out of the pocket.
We talk a lot about this at quarterback, right? Hard focus downfield, soft focus around. He wanted to throw that downfield. He just felt the pressure. He knew he had to get out of danger.
Fires toward the end zone. And it was worth the gamble, but the long pass is incomplete. Didn't connect last time. Let's see if they throw it again on 2nd down. Goes to the option. He'll pitch it. A pickup of 8 now to this 3rd and 2. Memphis now operating in the red zone. They'll try to pick up the 1st through the air. Oh, if only he wore a half-size smaller shoe, maybe he keeps that foot in bounds. Incomplete in the end. Line gets set, 1st down. He'll start this drive firing. Moves around to clear up the vision. He's looking on the right side. 10. The stop is made, but this offense is threatening 1st and goal from the 9. They'll try to get it in with the run. Pushes ahead for 2 to the 7-yard line. Defense rolls up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. And he rolls into the house. Offense set on 1st down. Smith takes the handoff. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple. After getting knocked back to open this drive, it's 2nd and 12. He's looking to throw. Pulls it in. He's really close to that 1st down marker, but they stop him just a bit bit short. It's third down from their own 34 as they try to keep the drive moving. He fires one deep down the right side. Pass on the way, it's picked off. And they capitalize not only on the pick, but the great return to give the offense tremendous field position. And now the offense will come onto the field again. Going to the running game. Banging, slithering, whatever it takes to get that ball up to the 32. They can really be aggressive after that last play at 2nd and 3. Now he's going to break the pocket. Wiggles free. And he's able to bounce off one tackle, but still not a whole lot of running room. It's third down from their own 34 as they try to keep the drive moving. Feeling some heat. That pass not close as he got drilled trying to deliver it, and it'll bring up 4th down. Here comes the offense on 1st down. Back to throw, it's King. He'll pull it down. And that's a very productive 1st down play and bringing up 2nd and 3. The give to the back. Stuffed almost in his track, but strong enough to pick up 1 to the 35. These are the types of plays where offenses impose their will. 3rd and short from the 40. He's taking the shot. And trying to put points on the board. Now they're staring at 4th down.
Defense did a great job.
Memphis has the ball back and the offense ready to go to work. They've got time, they've got the lead, and David is sort of like a doctor. First, do no harm.
Do no harm, but also things are hard to create, sometimes hard to stop. You have it, so just don't do anything stupid to create some momentum for the other side.
I think a lot of this comes down to your quarterback and whether or not he's making good decisions in this game. If he has to be aggressive, if not, let's just take the lead into halftime and get ready for the second.
3rd and long, and he'll try to throw for it. Looking to the big tight end. He's got it. The offense quickly calls timeout to stop the clock. And the Tigers will line it up on 1st and 10. Looking to take a shot. And the DB right with him to knock it away.
DB does an outstanding job here on the deep pass. Locating the football, no PI, able to...
He tries to take the top off. That one will be incomplete, and we are down to 10 seconds to go. Running out of time here in the 1st half. We're going to have to be efficient to put some points on the board before the break. He'll take another shot here. And that pass picked off. And they make the play and make sure there's not any scoring opportunity right here before the end of the half.
Come on, Pot Rose!
It's 10:30, baby.
Yeah, you gotta start making Pot Roast at 10:30, Nathan.
That Memphis offense back onto the field. After throwing the pick on the last drive, need to take care of the ball this time, Jesse. Oh, he's going to try to hit him deep. And that would be it. Been a big hitter if they could have done it, but 2nd down coming. Ready to fire from the pistol. Looking downfield, it's King. And the quarterback goes down at the 11-yard line. This defense has kept them backed up. Now one more stop, and they can get off the field on 3rd and long.
Somehow overwhelmed. You'd have to be running for your life.
Based off the signs of strangulation, we have a total of 5 bodies, 22 counties.
I just wanted to solve this more
Get you 5 bucks yards just to make it look that easy. It makes it really hard for the defenses to stop.
Here on 3rd down.
A shocking murder.
They'll try to get you
Comes
through
at
the air.
darkness. Babe, I think I'm still
They're on the
scared.
screen. And they
Babe.
wrap him up.
Take your medicine, baby.
Every fiber,
And then set it down after the
every
completion.
wound is the deep of the final.
Dad, come here.
One second.
They'll go for it on first down. Fires to the tight end.
Yeah.
There's a population of northern visitors that come in during the winter months. It has a lot of wooded areas that attract a host of animals. So there is a lot of hunting that goes on.
Are you fucking stupid?
On a cool winter morning, two
Why the
men
fuck would I
out
be squat
hawk
for thick
hunting
as fuck?
make their way down a dirt side road.
Squat down and hold it for about 30 seconds.
Birds circling around.
Y'all get right on that.
The hunters trail the vulture into a thick palm grove and make a horrifying discovery.
They found a body. About 100, give or take, in the woods.
Where's the early come from here?
Body was nude. There was no clothing, no identification, nothing.
He sits there and waits when somebody opens the door.
I know he's dead.
The legs were positioned in one place, one arm was down, another arm was up, and the victim was on his back. I immediately thought we had a homicide. We're a victim of a crime, especially a homicide. I want to be the one to speak for that.
Get your water.
One that can't speak for himself.
There's 2 minutes.
Hey, my water.
It's right there behind me.
The remains are sent
How
to
many
the
of them
county
are
hospital.
Open that. He can't be out here without that door open.
I'm sure they won't be around.
Like,
They started climbing the curtain in the shower, and then want to climb it, and they want to tackle him off of it. They'll hit the floor, they sound like a thud. And they hit the floor, and go boom.
can't we just spell that?
want to do is to identify so that you can communicate with the family that your loved one has died.
You don't hit the bone.
Most of the soft tissues is gone from the chest, all the organs, and the abdomen. And the head has some skin on it.
Why am I so
The
tired?
lower part of the body had the skin, but all
Sunlight, huh?
another type, post-mortem effect. You would identify with the fingerprints, but in this particular case, you have only the bones left.
In 1994, DNA testing is not widely available, so Dr. Amami examines the skull for clues to the victim's identity.
Without any soft tissues. Looking at the sutures to determine the age, the
Drink
sex
some of
of
your
the
Coke.
deceased.
That'll give you energy.
Approximate age was between
Yeah, drink
25
that
and
Coke.
35.
Where is she? You can't leave that door closed when he's out here. He has to go get the litter box.
Area.
Where is she? Give me
Inside the basket.
Some
Give me her
roughness.
litter. She needs to know she's my girl.
Scott.
What's her name?
The young man's body
Do you like Wanda?
a deeply unsettling
He's
fact.
probably more words.
Scrotum and testicles were not there.
Come to Mama Wanda.
Then had been removed.
If we ever break up, are we doing joint custody with the cat?
Yeah, you can help out at my house on the weekends.
On the weekend?
Continues to look for ways to
Yeah, because you're a deadbeat dad.
The few teeth in the skull can't be linked to dental records, but they do
Her
offer
number one, give her
investigators
mom
clues about
one.
who the young man might be.
Poor dental hygiene.
You love your
You
mama?
know what happens to the wig bag?
You love your mama? She doesn't like me. Why don't you like me, mama?
Florida, it's sort of a nightmare.
You know where the weed was set, baby?
Transient people who may be traveling
Huh?
for work, so they do end up here. They do end up sometimes living in our wooded areas and homeless camps. We go to suspicious persons report. We go to any reports.
I was having a very hard time finding the car.
Give me tissue to blow my nose.
We'll
Why does she like
come
me?
through that area for 24
She's just an anti-social kid. Think that
She
right.
loves me.
Her she comes in there every morning while I'm
Yeah, she only likes me when I'm on the toilet.
She's gonna stay.
How big her belly is.
It's really big too.
That's because they're
She's bigger.
She's smaller than him. She's younger than him. Her belly's bigger, but he's bigger than her.
No one has any
Let's go, wait,
information
can you go to
about the
Five Below,
young
see if I
man
can toys?
killed in the woods. Detectives return to the medical examiner to see if he's found any more clues.
I'm coming.
We echo all the.
Hold on, she's coming. She's trying to follow you.
Or decomposed box.
Baby girl, what are you doing?
We can see it in the ankle area. They might avoid.
Come put her over here, babe.
Baby girl, what are you doing?
Put her on the blanket. The green one.
Dr. Amani's discovery of a medical implant.
Hey, Nate, we have to deep clean this house yet. Or tomorrow. My mom, which one?
You can find out.
My mom's gonna be back.
Not too much cleaning you gonna do.
We have to clean that front room, all this.
They couldn't tell me who I was to, but they could give me a list of the hospitals.
Are you coming with me?
I issued subpoenas.
Are you coming to get high?
Persons that fit that general description.
Where is she?
I'm gonna let Ozzy out.
The detective sat at our desks calling every person that we could find in those records to see if they were still around.
No. Go.
And we went through them all and didn't come up with any. Everybody was
Go, Willie.
After months of relentless investigation, the team exhausts every avenue to identify the young men of Charlotte County.
We could not identify this person. This person is the manner of death has to be a homicide. But in this case, we don't know.
Without a name, a cause of death, or any lead, the 1994 murder of John Doe in the woods of Charlotte County turns cold.
Giving up is not an option. Even if the case went cold.
Then in early 1996, a pair of crimes in the nearby city of North Fork grabs Detective Hobbs' attention.
Northport Police Department had responded to a call to where a dog brought home a skull when it had been out in the woods. Well, they did a search back into the wooded area. That's where they came upon more remains. So the deputies started searching back through the woods. And then another body was discovered. Not too far away from where the skull was found.
Investigators fear this is more than a gruesome coincidence.
Because of our first discovery, I thought maybe we have a problem. And Rick thought the same thing.
I gathered my reports and my crime scene photographs and went up to Northport PD.
Detectives believe the 1994 murder of John Doe in Charlotte County could be connected to the two new sets of remains found near North Fork.
And I sat down with my sergeant up there and started going over his crime scenes. And started looking at the photographs. Not only the photographs of the body, photographs of the scenes. Even down to the type of roads they were off of, the distance back in the woods. If you didn't know which scene was which, you would not be able to tell them apart. We believe that the same person was responsible for all three bodies.
Investigators believe the 1994 murder of a John Doe in Charlotte County is linked to two fresh murders outside the nearby city of Northport.
I had a gut feeling that we had.
Discovered in Northport are sent to the local medical examiner, Dr. James Wilson.
I'm working towards structural things and understanding how is this body that was unnatural and altered that resulted in death. We're the ones who take the responsibility to determine, was this case a homicide or was it an accident?
Faced with two potential victims, Dr. Wilson begins examining the skeletal remains of John Doe number 2.
We had the skull, most of the vertebrae, most all of the ribs, the upper and lower extremities, I think clavicles and pelvis, and the lower jaw. This body looked like it had been present in the environment for probably a few months.
The state of the remains rules out fingerprinting as a means of identification.
There are features of male and female skeletons that are suggestive of the gender. This body is clearly a male. The individual was in the 30s or 40s age range. The stature was 73.5 inches. That would be based on multiple measurements of multiple long bones.
Without dental records or unique physical characteristics of the bones, the medical examiner can't go further with an identification.
We've done as much as we can to identify the victim.
You don't know who he is, who he hangs out with, where he works. You know, has he got a wife, brothers, sisters, family? All you had was the bones.
With the limited remains, Dr. Wilson also struggles to determine cause of death.
You could stab somebody in the chest with a knife that didn't hit any ribs, poke a hole in the heart, and the person would die, but still there can be no marks that you can tell because the soft tissue is all gone. All I can say is that there was some sort of homicidal violence, but it was undetermined exactly what.
Dr. Wilson moves on to autopsy the other victim found near Northport.
This was a body that had no clothing associated and no obvious personal belongings. On the body, there were large numbers of larval insects at 3 different stages of their development, which fit with a time since death of perhaps a few weeks. The decomposition wasn't so far advanced. It looked like a Caucasian male. The approximate stature was 65 to 67 inches for his age range. My guesstimate was 20s to 30s. The body, as I recall, looked relatively young.
Dr. Wilson is able to investigate cause of death on the remains of John Doe number 3.
There were 4 openings in the skin of the lower central chest and the upper abdominal region. Those represented 4 stab wounds to the body. I could see a mark on the skin that extended across the lower chest from side to side just below the level of the breast, and then began to go posterior and further up in the back of the body, which looked like this person may have been, for instance, tied to a tree.
There's no doubt the final moments of this man's life were filled with sheer terror.
There was an acute injury to the big toe aspect of the foot, a recent cut or laceration. I believe that this man was running unclothed through that dense underbrush before he became somehow overwhelmed and killed. I would think desperation just one people know. Naked. Yeah, I think you'd have to be running for your life.
Dr. Wilson makes another disturbing finding, one that matches Dr. Imami's discovery on the 1994 John Doe found in Charlotte County.
The male genitalia was absent from the body.
The teeth from both of Dr. Wilson's bodies also share similarities with the earlier victims.
The two individuals that I looked at, they had features that suggested they hadn't been to a dentist much, if at all, in a number of years prior to the time that they died.
So what this was telling us is that our victims were basically street.
Investigators believe the three John Does are connected.
The similarities, relatively desolate locations, bodies hidden, bodies unclothed, and with genital mutilation would suggest an individual serial killer.
Once you realize that you have a serial killer, the pressure is unbelievable. The pressure mainly came from within. It came from inside me.
Lieutenant Gandy is charged with leading the task force to catch the killer behind the murder of three John Does.
We put out what we call a BOLO, beyond the lookout, nationwide to homicide units, investigative units, telling them we're dealing with a serial killer. We kept the public informed. We let the media know as much as we could.
It really becomes kind of a sense of responsibility to do something, because when someone's actively out there killing, not only is it reporting the news, you're trying to do whatever you can to get this person caught so it stops.
As the task force ramps up, investigators get an urgent call.
Two Charlotte County Public Works employees were taking a break. They were working in an area that was heavily wooded, and they decided to take a walk in the woods.
And they come upon the skull.
Detective Hobbs and Lieutenant Gandy race to the scene.
What I saw was the skull of a white male. It wasn't completely decomposed. It still had flesh and hair. We all spread out and started searching the area for additional remains.
I found the torso. The remains were mostly skeletonized, having some skin and some tissue left.
Not too far from there, I found what was left of the pelvis. No legs, no spine, just cut right at the top of the pelvis. Then I looked out from the distance, and I saw something white laying underneath the tree. And from my vantage point, it kind of looked like it possibly could be a homeless person covered up asleep. When I started getting closer, I noticed a hand kind of sticking a little bit out from the old carpet padding. It looked like blood had dripped on the hands. That's when I called out to Lieutenant Gandy. I think I've got another one.
A serial killer is targeting young men across southwestern Florida.
We discovered John Doe number 4 and John Doe number 5.
Marginalized communities are easy targets for serial killers. If somebody's a homeless person and they're living in shelters half the time and they don't show up, it could be weeks or months till somebody actually reports them missing. That's a time gap that is favorable to a serial killer.
I just wanted to be sure we solved it before someone else got killed.
The bodies of John Doe number 4 and John Doe number 5 are sent to Dr. Riazul Imami.
Because of the close proximity, I think the same person most likely is the suspect.
He begins the autopsy of John Doe number 4.
Most of the organs, soft tissues have gone, and the pelvis are all bones. This means that the person has been dead for months. but on the skull and from the pelvis you can say that the person is a male. We have difficulty in identifying the body because there is no fingerprints available.
Dr. Imami moves on to autopsy John Doe number 5.
It was not too long ago the person had died, probably about 18 to 24 hours or so.
After 2 years and 5 bodies, this is the first set of remains found so soon after death. There is a chance it could reveal much more about the victim and the killer.
On the external part of the body, there was some rope ligature marks on the neck, on the chest, and also on the abdominal area. And then there were some rope markings on the legs and also on the wrist.
It's clear the victim was tied up, and just like John Doe number 3, this young man's body tells a terrifying tale.
In this particular case, there was some blood there under the rope markings on both sides of the abdomen. The cause of death was asphyxia, secondary to strangulation.
Dr. Imami looks over the pelvis and makes a disturbingly familiar finding.
We see some post-mortem excision of the genital. It was very gruesome.
He inspects every inch of the wound.
We are looking for all the evidences on the surface to see if there is any foreign material in it. This was a very sharp type of incision, and the base of the wound was quite clean.
Dr. Imami's scrutiny pays off. He finds a tiny chip of blue paint on the pelvis.
That paint chip was taken by the law enforcement.
The paint recovered from John Doe number 5's body is sent for analysis.
Right there during the examination, once we got all the swabbing and all that done, of any particulates or anything on the body, then the crime scene technicians rolled his fingerprints and submitted them into the database.
Finally, detectives get what they need. A name.
The victim was Richard Montgomery. Age was about 21 years and a Caucasian.
Now we have someone, 5 bodies that's been identified, so we're excited now that we've got somewhere to start. Now we can go back and find family, we can find friends, we can find out what his normal routines were, you know, who he may have come in contact with, you know, what kind of things does he do, and that just opens up the whole investigation.
Detectives look into the life of Richard Montgomery.
Richie was kind of a happy-go-lucky guy. He lived out on the streets. He didn't hold down a full-time job anywhere for very long. He fit the profile of our victims. We interviewed his family and some of his friends, some of the people that were with him past the age of 75. And during those interviews, we found out Richie was telling a couple of guys that he was going to make an easy $200 that night.
Police scrutinize the evidence to build a profile of the predator who killed Richard Montgomery and the other young men.
It seems like all the bodies have in common is they're all out in a rural, desolate area. They're all males, white males, and they all appear to be displayed on their backs, no clothing, no ID, and genitalia.
The proposed body tells me that the perpetrator is somebody who gets a sadistic thrill out of humiliating their victim.
You'll generally find there's a huge sexual component when bodies are posed. It is a presentation that the killer is giving to the police. It's almost like Catch Me If You Can.
The perpetrator is what they call a sexual sadist. Basically someone that gets pleasure and gets his sexual gratification through what he does to others.
Investigators look for someone in Richard's life who could fit the profile of this violent, disturbed killer.
We were looking at numerous suspects, sexual offenders in the area, people that had been around Richie or had problems with Richie. We had the task force running down every lead we could find, but we still didn't have a name.
Then detectives get a lead.
I received a phone call from a lieutenant out of the Correctional Institute, and he told me, I've got an inmate out here. He says he knows who your killer is.
David Payton is a young drifter in jail. He tells police of a terrifying encounter near Charlotte County.
The guy that's coming around offering him money to go out in the woods and pose nude. He says, sure. So he jumps in the car and they take off driving. And then all of a sudden, this guy's demeanor changes. He's from nice and submissive to, very hard and ordering him around. And then the car gets stuck in a mud hole. Mr. Payton said, I want to get out and help first. But the driver wouldn't let him out of the car.
The driver orders him to enter the vehicle. When Payton takes the wheel, he happens to glance at the back seat.
Payton looks around, he sees a tarp, camera, rope, a knife back there. And now he says, ooh.
Fearing for his life, Payton slams on the gas the second the car hits the road.
Mr. Payton said, I floored it to the bottom. Next thing you know, the driver reported the car stolen. I said, what? I immediately sent down to the main office and had the case report pulled. And the person that reported it stolen was Daniel Conahan Jr.
Detectives suspect the man David Payton barely escaped could be the serial killer they're hunting.
My first response was looking up and saying, thank you, Lord, we got a name.
Investigators have a suspect in the murder of Richard Montgomery and 4 other men. But they need more than a jailhouse tip to arrest the vicious killer.
We put him under 24/7 surveillance. We had trackers on his car. We had cameras on his house. Anytime he left the house, there was probably 4 to 6 detectives following him. Also had helicopters and or airplanes when he went out. So he was covered.
They dig into the life of the suspect.
We start doing background and find out who Daniel Conahan is.
Conahan initially joined the Navy. He ended up getting discharged. He came down to Florida and he stayed with his parents. He went to nursing school and became a licensed practical nurse. The first time we could place him in Charlotte County was in March of 1993.
1993 is right before our first body found.
Looking to tie him directly to the murders, detectives track Conahan's habits.
We found in his credit card records regular purchases being made at Walmart's, Kmart's, all around similar amounts. He was buying cameras, rope, tarps, pliers, knives, and replacement supplies for the murder kit.
For investigators, this discovery is a red flag.
These kill kits are very common amongst serial killers. These are people who have spent a lot of time thinking about and planning how they're going to kill someone.
The task force planned an elaborate sting operation.
We picked younger undercover officers that I knew would be able to take care of themselves.
The undercover officers pose as homeless drifters and wait patiently for Daniel Conahan to approach.
We created a homeless camp. We built it in the woods. We didn't really want to lead him. We wanted him to lead us.
In late May 1996, the suspect makes a move.
He made contact with one of our undercovers a couple times before he finally said, hey, I'm going to the woods and pose for some new pictures.
Daniel Conahan takes the officer to a remote palm grove.
We've got detectives actually in the brush watching him.
We had a sniper in a foxhole that we dug just to be sure that nothing happened to our undercovers.
He lures the officer deep into the woods.
Going there, he talked about the bondage or the photographs.
The undercover in Conahan went back there, but for some reason everything was going good. And all of a sudden, just something clicked. His demeanor changes.
Conahan backed away and he said, okay, maybe later. He backed out, and that was that.
Undeterred, police continue surveillance of the suspect. They soon notice a chilling pattern of behavior.
We could follow Mr. Conahan in several locations. Once we get out of the car and just feel the area.
Serial killers dump bodies and will often visit and revisit as a way to relive the memories and the thrill of killing people.
The task force decided we're going to do a search. Maybe there's some more bodies back there. We don't know.
They bring in extra manpower from police departments across southern Florida.
During the search, I had a detective from the Fort Worth Police Department. He says, yeah, we had one sniper.
The officer stuns Detective Hobbs with another story of someone encountering Daniel Conahan.
And that's when I said, what do you mean you had one just like this? He says, yeah, but our guy lived. I said, what?
Detectives interview the alleged attack victim, 26-year-old Stanley Burden, a sex offender serving time in an Ohio prison.
He said this person named Dan in a similar vehicle to Daniel Conahan offered him money to pose nude, offered him money for sex, offered him money to let him photograph him in bondage. This person tied him up, started photographing him, and he couldn't escape. And then the person wrapped a rope around his neck and tried to strangle him.
He was choking and choking and choking. And this band guy says, why don't you just die? Make my job easier. Why don't you just die?
The attacker pauses, but he's not about to release his victim.
He says, I'm going to go back and get my chainsaw. When he walks away, Stanley Burden goes down and he sees a small pair of wire cutters. Well, he's getting down the tree where he can get a hold of him. Cuts himself loose, takes off running.
Wounded and bleeding, Stanley Burden tears through the dense underbrush until he reaches a road.
And that's when this trucker was going down the street, sees this guy running bloody and naked, and picks him up and takes him to the hospital.
Dr. Riazul Amami compares Stanley Burden's neck injuries to the wounds on Richard Montgomery's body.
The hemorrhages in the soft tissues on the anterior or lateral aspects of the neck was there, and that matched with the rope markings outside.
Stanley Burden had permanent damage to his vocal cord or his throat. Every breath he takes really is kind of tied back to that moment when he caught Daniel Conahan.
Investigators asked Stanley Burden to identify his attacker.
They had a, what we call a photograph, 6 photographs. That thing no sooner hit the table, he says, that's it. And identified time. I was able to get a search warrant for his house and for his cars.
We decided it was time to try an interview with Mr. Conahan. We were going to serve the warrants. We were going to do it all at one time. We made the traffic stop in the parking lot of the Holiday Inn in Punta Gorda, and we had already had a room set up to do an interview with him.
Daniel Conahan Jr. agreed to speak with detectives.
I knew what I wanted to get out of him. I wanted to get a full confession.
So your name is service in this investigation, and we became very curious about you, so we wanted to get some questions answered.
He was nice to me. I was nice to him. He was obviously smart. His upper body language was pretty good. But he started almost immediately tapping his leg. And you can see the tablecloth moving up and down like that really quick.
Lieutenant Gandy presses Conahan about the murders.
Richard Montgomery, the name sounds familiar, you know. Any reason why there's the paper and TV?
Daniel Conahan denies any involvement in the killings. Detectives know he's lying.
He denied lots of things like being into the bondage or offering people money for bondage and so forth, and we clearly had information on that.
I'm pretty much not over everything that you guys can think of.
No doubt in my mind that we had the right guy. For now, we have to prove that he killed these people.
As detectives are interviewing Daniel Conahan Jr. in the serial murder of 5 men, a search of the suspect's home turns up key evidence.
We found the backpack, and we found all the items that were gone in the backpack. We found tarps, 4-inch rope, forward camera, paring knives.
Investigators also take a sample of paint from the suspect's car.
During the examination and autopsy, we took a spin chip from Richard Montgomery's body. The person who is committing the crime, he has left odd evidence.
The medical examiner recovered a little paint chip right by where the genitals had been removed. And we collected samples of paint from Mr. Conahan's cars. Now, the mercury had been painted numerous times, and the paint was breaking off. Well, the lab tested that paint. The paint sample that we recovered from Mr. Montgomery matched the exact paint off of the vehicle. The thickness of layers, the pigments, all of that matched layer for layer.
After 2 years of investigation into the murder of 5 young men, detectives finally have found what they've been searching for, an unmistakable link between Conahan and Richard Montgomery.
It took 3 years or so before we were able to take him to trial. And he chose to have a trial by judge.
Testimony from detectives and the medical examiner forms the backbone of the prosecution's case.
Daniel Conahan Jr. was coming around offering street money to go out in the woods and pose nude in a bondage type situation.
Conahan lured Richard Montgomery into the woods.
Daniel Conahan tied him up to these trees, and he couldn't escape.
There were markings on the back of the body made by the bark of the tree. on the front of the body, I could see some markings there could show that this is a rope marking. And then we go into the neck. The rope has pressed the throat and that caused the suffocation and asphyxia.
Another key connection Dr. Ramami makes for the prosecution comes from the suspect's experience working as a nurse.
He had an access to somebody who was working here in the hospital. So to me, the external genitalia which have been removed on Montgomery's body, he has used sharp instruments like a sharp scalpel.
After only 25 minutes of deliberation, the judge reaches a verdict.
He took a recess and then came back up, found him guilty.
Daniel Conahan Jr. is sentenced to death for the cruel and horrific killing of Richard Montgomery.
Richard was in his early 20s. He was still a kid. He was loved by his family, and he loved his family. And unfortunately, there was a monster waiting in the woods, and that monster took advantage of Richard's fortitude and murder.
Eventually, all John Does are identified and their families notified of their deaths.
And he was only actually charged with one offense.
No charges have been laid in connection with these cases, though Conahan remains the prime suspect.
When they don't take him to trial for the cases, you're giving the family more court time and more publicity and more pain. They have to sit there and listen to how their son or their daughter was murdered and mutilated, when you can accomplish the same thing and you get a death penalty case only on one case. Why subject them to that?
They had a lot of really seasoned, committed, and passionate investigators, and it didn't matter to them if these were homeless people, if they were unidentified people. It didn't matter because they were out there and they were determined to catch this person and to make their case.
We need the medical examiner to establish that we have a homicide and to prove how a homicide victim was killed. That would lead us to who committed this crime. That makes your case.
Once we complete our work, this means that somebody is speaking for the dead. That's very important.
Leg. It made for an eerie scene. The cause of death is very much a mystery.
He met a lot of unseen people. He had worked with mob figures in Las Vegas.
Perhaps he had been held against his will.
Did one of those enemies come back and put him in that grave?
If I had tried to write the wildest script for murder, I don't think I could have ever come up with anything like this.
Every murder is a mystery. But a victim's body is a sea of evidence. Every fiber is a clue. Every wound, a piece of the puzzle. The medical examiner holds the key to unlock their stories and catch a killer. This is Secrets of the Morgue.
San Joaquin County is a very good, stable place to live. Parts of the county are rural. There is a community, people that are involved with horses.
There are wholesome, good families in this community, but every county has got its crime. There's no county that's crime free.
On a cool February day, signs of trouble are spotted in the sky.
A farm worker saw vultures circling part of the vineyard. He was curious, of course, so he went over there. That's when he saw it.
I get a call to report to a vineyard. As soon as I got out of the car, I could see what appeared to be a piece of a human body sticking out of the ground.
When I initially arrived on scene, I see a partial leg from the knee down, which is exposed above ground. The rest you can see a shallow grave, but can't see anything else.
In the Western Wood, somebody dies and then they bury them, and then there's almost like a mounding effect. You could see some of that in an area that would be consistent with the size of about a human body.
To get to the truth behind this gruesome discovery, investigators turn to forensic pathologist Dr. Terry Haddix.
Performing autopsies is a very fulfilling thing to do, not only for myself to be able to understand exactly what transpired, but also to be able to answer questions for families, for law enforcement, or whoever might have a question about what happened to this individual who died. I had heard while I was performing autopsies that the remains of an individual had been found in a vineyard. This was unusual. It's not all that common that a forensic pathologist encounters cases of bodies that have been buried in shallow graves. Honestly, it wasn't something that I'd actually encountered before in my career. At the scene, I see a leg sticking up. But there's no soft tissue, there's no skin, there's no muscle that's left on that part. The most likely way for that tissue to be lost is by animals coming in and stripping that off. Is it only the leg, only the foot, or are we dealing with an entire body? It made for an eerie scene. I tried to be professional, but you can't just completely separate yourself from what's being revealed right in front of you. You have not only an individual who has died, but that person is part of a family, circle of friends, has co-workers, and frequently when a forensic pathologist calls out, it's because they died in a violent fashion.
With much of the mystery hidden beneath the surface, investigators bring in another expert, Dr. Roger Lajeunesse, to assist in the excavation.
Solving problems and getting something that doesn't meet a textbook example, something that requires me to think, gives me a bit of satisfaction. The first task was to get an idea of the orientation of the body, lay out a grid so that when they find something they can say, we found something from area A as opposed to area B.
We remove the dirt around the body a little bit at a time in layers. We are looking for evidence of anything that might be potentially informative, something that looks out of place in that area. That would include things that are very small, such as hairs, fibers. There are risks involved in removing that body. And one of the most important things that has to be considered is not introducing something to the crime scene that wasn't there before. For example, cigarette butts or a mark on the body. So extreme care has to be taken. As we remove dirt off progressively, you can see that it's not just a foot, it's not just a leg, but we have the entirety of the body.
We could see that the body was face up, kind of in a cradle position. He was a 50-year-old white male.
After I looked at the body externally and found no obvious cause of death, the big question is, who was this person?
The forensic team begins to remove the decomposing body.
The soil underneath the body that's been in the ground is kind of an oily mass.
After death, fluids can drain out from the body. Decomposition affects all structures within the body, including the blood vessels. So the blood vessels will break down after death, and bloody fluid can in fact drain. We call this purge fluid. And this fluid is bloody looking, but doesn't necessarily mean that there was an injury that was present there. It's not uncommon to find it to puddle or to drip in different areas, depending upon if a body has stayed in one place for a period of time.
And if there's not a lot of air between the object that's sitting there, you're going to get a suction. You got to break that adhesion or suction so that you can remove it. I used a backboard from an EMT vehicle, and I put it between the individual and the pit he was in, and then used the edge of the pit as a fulcrum. And I finally was able to loosen it, and then you could then move him over onto the tarp and then haul him out.
Investigators can now begin their analysis.
Other than the animal depredation on the lower foot, the rest of the body was completely intact.
However, the body demonstrated some evidence of decompositional changes, including some discoloration of the skin, some slippage of the skin, but relatively little distortion. Remarkably to me, there appeared to be tattoos on both arms.
We start thinking this is somebody that we're looking for as a missing person.
Ramos checks recent missing persons reports and gets a potential hit.
I'm matching up the description on the missing person poster to my person that's in the grave, and everything is matching up. Tattoo, the facial features. It was evident that we had found Larry McNabney.
Detectives have been looking for Larry McNabney, a prominent lawyer who went missing 21 weeks ago. The body in the vineyard seems to match his description, but they need an official ID.
When a buried body is discovered, it's not automatic that fingerprints would be available. You don't know how long they've been buried and how much decay has taken place. Depending on weather conditions and the burial conditions, you may lose a fingerprint within 24 hours.
This time, investigators are lucky.
There was a great deal of skin that still remained on the body, and in particular on the hands, which permitted fingerprint identification. Those fingerprints matched Larry McNabney, and at that point in time, we had an identification.
The intact condition of the body creates a question about the timeline of the crime.
In a grave as shallow as we have in this circumstance, I would have expected a great deal more of compositional change, but also more importantly, changes due to the animals gaining access to the body and feeding off of the soft tissue.
We're not sure at that point why we have this gap. From the time that Larry McNabney was missing in September to the time that we discovered the body 5 months later. So we don't know what's going on. He had to have been somewhere.
Investigators are trying to uncover how Larry McNabney ended up buried in a shallow vineyard grave. They look into his life for answers.
Larry McNabney is an attorney that has his law offices in Sacramento that he ran when his wife enlisted.
As a defense attorney, Larry McNabney, by definition, met a lot of unseemly people. That's what defense attorneys do. He had worked with mob figures in Las Vegas.
He was one of those people that commanded attention. He was a flamboyant, very dynamic individual.
He had this cowboy image that he carefully cultivated.
If you've been in an accident and don't know what to do, you need somebody who does. I do. I'm Larry McNabney. Call me.
Prior to him going missing, he was real involved in the horse showing circuit. He's slated to be the Rookie of the Year.
Detectives learned that the missing person report for McNabney was filed by an unlikely source.
The first person who actually reported Larry missing was a new hire at the law firm by the name of Ginger. Even though she's taking cases, filing cases, and generating documents with Larry's name on them, she's never seen nor heard from Larry McNabney.
So in late November, she reports her boss as a missing person. In the missing person report, we found out that the last time that anybody had seen Larry alive was on or about September 10th.
Larry's body was discovered in February, 5 months after he went missing. Dr. Haddock suggests a theory that may explain the conflicting timeline.
He does not look as decomposed as what one would expect had he actually died 5 months earlier. So is it possible that he didn't die 5 months ago and died somewhat more recently?
Detectives piece together Larry's last known movements.
The last time that Larry was seen, it was at a horse show down in Southern California.
And he's there to show what is his prize horse, best one yet.
Larry did very poorly. He wasn't as sharp as he normally would be. He wasn't dressed to the T. And that's really the last time that anybody saw him.
They try to uncover where McNabney may have gone after the horse show.
Family members who had been looking for him and trying to reach him had been told that he was pulled away to handle a case someplace else. Another story was that he had traveled to another country and that he was off on a golf vacation.
Well, it can be really difficult if someone isn't reported missing immediately. As time goes on, evidence can disappear very quickly. Someone may not be noticed missing in the first day or two, but that could mean that investigators are losing key evidence.
Detective Ramos seeks out the person closest to McNabney. His wife, Alyssa.
We're desperate to find out where Alyssa's at. We weren't able to make any contact. Is she okay at this point? We have no idea. Maybe she ran into foul play. We don't know.
With Alyssa missing and Larry found dead, investigators consider if there could be a connection to organized crime.
One of the possibilities I was considering is that perhaps he had been held against his will for a period of time and killed much closer in time to when the body was found.
The work that Larry did might definitely make him some enemies. If one of those enemies come back and put him in that grave.
Detectives hope that Dr. Haddix can reveal more about when and how Larry McNabney died.
In doing the external examination, I'm looking for presence of any injuries or anything that may speak to how he might have died. I'm looking to see is there something that suggests that he may have been restrained or confined in some fashion. What we can find is that there can be abrasions or scrapes around wrists, around ankles, and these may look like ropes or zip ties or something along the lines like that. If we find evidence of that, we can actually also cut through the skin in the area to see if there's evidence of bleeding beneath those areas to suggest that he had been struggling against restraints. But I found no evidence to suggest that he had been tied or restrained in any fashion.
McNabney's cause of death also remains a mystery.
Something happened to that body to maintain its degree of preservation in that period of time before he was buried in the grave. I looked at every aspect of the body externally. I see no evidence of obvious injuries. X-rays are taken. I didn't see any indications of recent fractures or bullets. I also looked for other things such as injection sites. I found no indications of that. I looked at all of the different organs and also the brain and within the neck. After doing all of those examinations, however, there's no obvious evidence of why he died. Cause of death is very much a mystery.
Detectives tracked down the friends who were with Larry and Alyssa in the days before he vanished.
The Whalens are a horse racing, horse showing family.
Whalen's son-in-law, who was friends with Larry McNabney. They used to play golf together.
When investigators interview Whalen, he tells them about the last time they saw Larry's wife, Alyssa.
Larry had a very distinctive leather wallet that he was extremely proud of. But it was oversized, so he used to always take it out. Alyssa showed up at the ranch with a lot of Larry's personal property in the red BMW that they had purchased. Whalen very specifically told me that he remembers seeing that wallet on the back seat of the BMW. And he said that he found it extremely strange because Larry would never give that wallet away.
With questions swirling, detectives dig into Larry and Alyssa's relationship.
Larry McNabney had set up shop, as to say, in Las Vegas. Business was thriving. He had over $100,000 a month payout in law firm. So he was doing quite well.
Alyssa applied for a position in his office and wound up becoming an office manager.
From the minute he saw her, he is smitten.
While Alyssa was Larry's employee, her work ethic was questionable.
While doing that job, she embezzled quite a bit of money. Everybody in the office is aware that this is going on. They're thinking that she's going to be fired, she's going to be arrested.
But Larry seems unfazed by Alyssa's theft.
There was this huge ethical breach. And the Nevada State Bar, they did not disbar Larry, but they told him you can no longer have Alyssa working for you. She can't be any part of your law practice. That is what sent Larry packing to California. He left this lucrative law practice in Nevada to start from scratch in Sacramento just because he wanted to stay with Alyssa and have Alyssa continue working for him.
Larry and Alyssa set up the law firm. A young lady by the name of Sarah Dutra starts to work in the office, just assisting with filing, and she very quickly starts to get a more active role to the point that her and Alyssa are inseparable. They're conducting office business together. They're going everywhere together. She travels with Larry and Alyssa to the horse show.
The tight bond between Alyssa and Sarah became a source of conflict in the relationship with Larry. Larry felt that Sarah was an interloper now coming between himself and his wife. And it got to the point, because there was so much conflict between Larry and Alyssa over Sarah, that Alyssa would bring Sarah to these horse shows and sequester her in a different hotel so that Larry wouldn't know. Then Alyssa and Sarah would spend quiet time together.
And it starts to get to Larry that they're inseparable. It's starting to bug him to the point that he starts to tell people that he's going to get rid of Sarah.
Well-known attorney Larry McNabney is dead, and his wife Alyssa is missing. Detectives turn their attention to Sarah Dutra, hoping she's the thread that will unravel this mystery.
Sarah is a young office assistant who is suddenly the darling of the boss's wife. Alyssa is buying Sarah designer handbags and shoes, even leases her a car. She's showered with all these luxuries and extravagances. Life is good suddenly for Sarah Dutra.
Detectives return to the McNabney's friends, the Whalens, to see what they know about Sarah.
Sarah comes around to the Whalen Ranch quite a bit. And the Whalens recognize Sarah as kind of a helper, kind of this right hand.
So we had the older version and the young entrepreneur who was learning from her, is what it was.
It's clear to the Whalens that when they are together, Alyssa's the one calling the shots. They also recall her asking some disturbing questions.
Debbie Whalen recalled that while they were grooming their horses in the stable, Alyssa asked her if the horse tranquilizer could kill a human being. Debbie was kind of shocked that Alyssa would ask her this, and her response was, heck yeah, it'll put down a 1,500-pound horse. Of course it'll kill him. When we find out that Alyssa had this conversation with Debbie, we specifically direct the pathologist to look in to see if there was any kind of horse tranquilizer in Larry's system.
Samples of the blood, liver, and head hair were sent for analysis. And then I waited to get the results.
When we don't see any obvious signs of trauma, one of the first things that you think about is, is this person poisoned? Poison leaves very little physical trace on the outside of the body. But then the toxicologist is going to tell you the story.
I I was contacted by the toxicology lab. They had identified xylazine. Xylazine is a veterinarian tranquilizing agent. It is not a drug that's used in humans. Ultimately, it results in circulatory collapse. The amount that was found was 8 milligrams per liter in the blood. This was greater than 25 times the reported lethal levels of this in humans. So I had a cause of death, homicidal poisoning with xylazine.
The discovery shifts Alyssa from another potential victim to a prime suspect. But she is still nowhere to be found.
We have pictures of her. We know who we're looking for, but we really don't know who she is.
Detectives also can't find a paper trail. This leads them to the realization Alyssa McNabney doesn't exist. That's why they haven't been able to find her.
We realize that Alyssa has used at least 38 other aliases in the past.
She was smart, let's just put it that way. She managed to live her life without ever using her real name, without ever producing anything that would positively identify her.
Investigators team up with the FBI to expand the manhunt. Together, they uncover a pattern of deceit leading back to the source of Alyssa's alias.
Alyssa was very cunning, but she made one big mistake. Alyssa is a name that she borrowed from a former cellmate in Florida. The investigators showed this former cellmate a picture of the woman who had married Larry McNabney. And the cellmate said, "That's Lauren Sims."
When we found out that her true name is Lauren Renee Sims, we were able to trace that back to Florida, and the family was well established in the area. It appeared that she had a normal childhood, a loving childhood. She dropped out of school and started getting into trouble.
She had a rap sheet of 110 pages on it. She'd been grifting her whole life, and very clever in doing so.
She was a crook, and had always been a crook. Credit card fraud, theft, always non-violent crimes, but property crimes.
I think she was narcissistic. She just didn't care what harm she caused anybody else as long as she got what she wanted out of this.
Authorities suspect that McNabney's wife, who has been living under the alias Alyssa, could also be his killer. But there are still unanswered questions about the state of Larry's remains.
We're still missing an explanation for why Mr. McNabney's body was in as good a condition as it was, despite not having been seen for 5 months. I discussed this with the investigators and very specifically brought up the possibility that his body may have been kept in an area where it was cool, which would slow down decomposition, but also in an area where the body was not accessible to insects, because we also didn't have any evidence of insect activity.
Flies are attracted to the aroma, the scent of decaying flesh. I've attended crime scenes where flies are depositing eggs on a body almost immediately upon death, and those fly eggs then develop into maggots.
To unravel this mystery, Dr. Haddix weighs the options.
I did not think the body had been frozen. The reason is that process of freezing and then thawing results in a much more brisk rate of decomposition. In this case, we didn't have extensive decomposition.
She can only come to one conclusion.
the body had been refrigerated, that could potentially account for the findings that we had in this case.
When we spoke with Greg Wayland, we found out that he and his workers had moved some items out of the refrigerator. And one of the items that they had moved to the Wayland Ranch was a refrigerator.
The refrigerator was actually being used to store food and beverages.
And we've got a warrant so we can secure the refrigerator as part of this investigation.
Dr. Haddix analyzes the refrigerator from the ranch.
There was evidence of microcracks within the bottom of that refrigerator. The presence of microcracks was indicative that there had been something heavy placed within the bottom of that refrigerator.
She's a little skinnier than I think she is. She's got thick colored hair on her.
Had not really been cleaned up.
Oh, Rocky wants food.
Baby girl.
Get the kitten.
At that point in time, could have
Then
been
get this badass kitten.
I
can't, I got something.
When the testing came back from the lab, the register
What's all this shit over here?
in the refrigerator was determined to be decomposition fluid.
Put the kitten in the bathroom.
Investigators test the decomposition
No, Ozzy.
for DNA.
The DNA evidence in the
Let me give him a
refrigerator
kiss.
showed that their individual had been kept in a period of time before he was put in the ground and then discovered.
Forensic evidence places Larry in Alyssa's refrigerator, which explains the condition of the buried remains. Now they have to find her.
She is paying her way to get back to Florida by selling Larry's jewelry, some watches that he had. And she ends up in the Destin area.
She applies for work in a law office as a paralegal.
Look at that, John.
But at the law office, she provides a false social security number at the number that belongs to a man. The lawyers there called him.
Just one bag of chips.
All of their attention is now focused on the Florida Panhandle. They swarmed the community.
Close the door.
There was a patrol officer that found Alyssa sitting in a chair sunning herself.
Waylon! Waylon's in there.
It was coming to an end one way or another.
Jeremy is coming to get Waylon.
Come here, buddy. You will come hang out with us for too long.
Detectives find Larry McNabney's wife living under an alias in Florida. A local officer confronts the fugitive.
Before he even opens his mouth, he says, I know what they're looking for. Lauren was tired of running, tired of living on the land. She was exhausted and was ready to give up.
While in custody, Alyssa implicates an accomplice in the murder of her husband, Larry.
Alyssa basically confessed to the homicide of her baby at the time she was arrested.
He wanted to go in there and go to bed.
Come on, Waylon.
She put her spin on it.
Come on, Waylon.
Not on herself.
I'll tell you, I love the play call on first down here. You're just trying to find an easy completion.
Yeah, he was going to go there.
On the field, the quarterback is finding your biggest target, and that's the tight end. Nice job.
Charged with homicide.
And the pass is incomplete, but the flag flies, and there was a lot of early contact there.
The defender was way too handsy on that last play. You could see all the contact as the ball was in the air. He simply can't do it. The referee's call.
Any of the statements that we obtained from things like this that served them together said that they were extremely close.
What is this I hear you're coming to get my cat?
They'll run this play from the pistol.
Investigators
You hear that? Waylon. Waylon, look who it is.
That night after.
Yeah, he don't care.
Let's go.
What is this I hear you're coming to get my cat?
Going for a big play on first down. Fast incompletion leaves them still sitting at their own.
Okay, but what is this you're coming to get my cat?
Feeling the heat as he lets it go. Snags it on the right.
Why are you holding him?
Bring it down after he rips off a huge play.
He does not want to go there and react for me. He wants to stay here until you can get him by himself.
Quarterback extends the play.
He does not want to react for me for nothing.
A big hit there for the second down.
He is very happy in his bedroom.
Connection last time was him. They throw it again.
He is very well taken care of. Nathan, give Olive some food.
Getting some heat.
Nathan, feed Olive him.
Okay.
Now, Olive's hungry. Look at her. So what is this on your...
What are you doing, big girl?
You let him out of the cage to feed her. And give them the big bowls. Do not feed them with them little dinky ass bowls. The dogs are out of dog food? I don't even know what kind of dog food they eat.
They are clearly.
What kind? Why are you giving her that little ass bowl?
We ain't got much food left.
Quite dead, and they don't have.
We'll have to get some more.
To actually finish him at that point. Get back in the
Get your ass out of here.
It's filled their water bowl. It's empty. So why are you coming to get my cat?
Into the living room area, and then roll them off of the
Tell him. Waylon. Wait. Your mom said, wait. Get over here. Your mom said you're not my cat. He said, put that thing up, money, make it raw, what you got. Pop, lock it for me, baby, we can show what you got. Hey, baby mama, look at Pop that. Baby mama, what you got. Hey, Pop, lock and drop it. Pop, lock and drop it. Hey, Waylon.
Try to come up with an estimate of how long this injury. There was a lesser
And then inside the refrigerator, and what we believe is.
So when are you coming again? Because I'm letting him outside. Let me know when that is. And I'll be like, Henry, I don't know where he is. He got out. I'm gonna tell Henry when he gets there. I don't know where he is. He got out.
Unloads to the right. He makes the catch.
Look, I redid my nails.
I've never had the
First down here for the offense.
Investigators also
He
put
wants to
together
start
the
this
most
drive with a
for
pass. Looking for the end zone. And it's picked off again. His night vision hasn't been on far.
Okay, young fella, 2 interceptions already. That's 3, 4, 5, 6.
To operate law firm and generate money.
Memphis has the ball back on the offense ready to go to work. And they've got a little bit of a cushion here, David, if they can add to it. He's going for the big play. And that'll be incomplete. They tried to hit him with a big one on first down. This offense has a second down play.
Tie that sheets together and attach.
He's looking to throw. Unloads to the wideout. Wide open downfield. Finally run out of bounds, but he has the sound with a first down. He wants to throw. Trying to get to it. And how about the efficiency on that when they bring up second and third? The give is to Smith. 1 step grab, 2 step squeeze. This junior knows how to get him on the ground. They'll snap it from the 48 on 3rd and short. They'll try to get it through the air.
I'm walking outside and
Pressure is effective from the defense. They knock him down just behind the midfield stripe at the 48.
The medication that was actually used.
Babe, give me a fork or something. Give me a spoon.
From inside of
For what?
My gosh, they're sticky.
No, just take them.
No, babe, give me a spoon. So I'm walking outside. I'm walking outside and the pissing us right after I got the screw and they said, why did you not tell me about this?
Manslaughter.
Where'd you get that? The dishwasher's dirty, you fucking idiot.
It's not.
Nathan, you're pissing me off and it's not funny.
All the planning and the egregiousness.
Put that back in the fucking dishwasher now. No, get one out of the drawer, you fucking idiot.
We got that in the drawer.
Oh, Nathan, seriously, you're pissing me off.
Science actually is the hinge point.
Stop smiling, but actually you're hinge.
Without the medical science to prove that he was actually in that refrigerator.
I don't like you. And the conversation we had made me like you. Anyway, so I'm walking outside the store and you guys ready.
Fuck that bitch, man.
Over there to the neighbor's yard, walking over there to the other neighbor's yard, up the hill.
There you go, Raven.
Up our yard.
Red 18, red 18.
I'm walking up the hill, our driveway, over to the neighbor's yard, ringing the doorbell, walk down that hill to the neighbor's house back there, ring that doorbell, and walk back up the hill. Get my dog, yell at me, like, get my dog.
Gonna try to get it himself. They finally get him on the ground, but not before he rips off enough for a first down. On first down from their own 22. Looking to move it through the
That's some very nice house.
and it is a jump play.
That's a very nice house. No, Mom said he went to the top of the driveway and literally, like, he must have, like, just got at the top of the driveway and they, like, pulled over his car. And, cause they were like, Mom was like, they were like very weird, like, they were like trying to, like, prove it's your dog, prove it's your dog. They just fight off. I can come the fuck you. No, when I got there, I literally, I thought he was going to be able to do so I literally just went over and go, oh, you scared me. And he comes running over to my face.
Fires into the end zone. And it's caught.
Act like this. So,
Offense getting set for first down.
I got the dog back. He's going on a leash now.
They're going to open this drive with a pass.
People think we're elite.
He's acting up his mom's out here.
And they got him for the sack.
And I told her that, and I said, Mom, I want all these. I said, Mom, you have to understand, it's 3 dogs, 3 cats, and a lizard. And I've never taken care of cats or lizards. A dog is easy. Let him out, feed him. Boom, water. Cat, he's gonna take the litter boxes, make some food.
Fires to the big fella.
You got nobody in the litter box, the cage, I'm cleaning a lizard cage, I'm fucking feeding a lizard. When the fuck, what? When the fuck did I become a part-time fucking zookeeper?
Here comes that Memphis offense back onto the field.
And man,
Last time we saw this offense, we had to look
when I was
quick
acting
and
extra cleaning and weird, like a baby because of baby. The corners are fucking pieces of shit.
And the tackle was made, but not before that completion gets
I was acting like a fucking asshole. Him, I was always a piece of shit. Look, I'm stressed the fuck out. These kids are bad as fuck.
hang on to that one. This defense has already picked off 3 passes.
Nathan not helping.
Second down. Looking to throw its King. Coming after it.
I'm helping, babe. What are you talking about?
And they're probably fortunate that it wasn't not free for a fumble. This drive was clicking along, but after a couple of misfires, threatening to stall out on 3rd and 10. Extending the play. And he'll just get rid of
I
that.
said, what the fuck do you want?
Really nice third down sub defense there that time. It's third
And then he said, I'm only saying noise. Yeah.
Why don't you fix it? Fingernails and stuff like that.
Memphis has the ball back and the offense ready to go to work. And they're going to have to fight this defense, and they're also up against it with time, Jesse.
Yeah, no doubt, Reese. This quarterback now, he's going to have to show off his poise, David. They practice these late game situations, but how's this guy going to respond?
And I got a little bit of time to work with you, so I watched the defense, and if they're going to drop back and play real conservative like they tend to do late in the game, let's get a few shots over the middle first.
What are you coming to get him?
Take that deep shot.
He's got it downfield for a huge gain.
When are you coming to get him?
Sideline going nuts as he gets it down to the 18.
When?
The offense uses a timeout, 20 ticks remaining.
I'll be
Fires
alert.
into the end zone. And he can't find his man as he was trying to pay off his red zone opportunity. The offense gets set for second down. He's looking to throw.
You'll be miserable.
Dances away from the heat. That one will be in.
All right, let's go.
And we are down to 10 seconds to go. Now facing a third and
You don't need my
long.
chair.
From the gun, wants to pass.
I need to find something to watch. I can watch the rookies. I only have to watch. Maybe give me a Georgia. But I only like watching that higher videos about that.
And inside a minute to go, they've got the lead.
No, that's like, that's bad long.
Kitchen knife, you would be slicing tomatoes so thin your in-laws would never come back to your house.
Well, that'd be a good thing.
Yeah, but like, how many episodes?
Come back anyways. When he's been on fire, he's gonna absolutely torture me.
Yeah, like an hour long.
And absolutely no answers for it.
When I first heard that Heather was moving to New York, I actually felt that there was a natural evolution because she loved being on the stage. I thought of the theaters down here in Little Beach, and it's pretty natural.
Yeah, bro. But watching that, like, I don't even gotta watch it.
Investigators
I
pour
gotta
over
watch
Heather's
it. I
apartment,
didn't watch it.
gathering evidence,
Maybe I'll watch it.
searching
Don't
for
cancel the
any links to
Netflix.
her killer.
Scanned photo around the room, and I noticed some of the drawers
I'm keeping this spoon.
clothes hanging out, things thrown about the apartment, as if somebody had been rummaging through, looking for something.
No, that's weird that you're not bringing her back to
We
my
have a deceased person who was evidently been murdered, and
feels like
somebody
it.
rummaged into the apartment, probably for a robbery. You look for a purse, wallet,
It feels like it.
couldn't find any of
I
that.
miss my time.
I see a pillow laying on the floor underneath her head, which is not common for a murder or
Well,
such event that takes place. And I'm thinking, where did this pillow come from? You just don't murder
Some of
somebody
this game was only her body.
we fall on a pillow.
Like, literally just picking up.
It's not on the pillow like you would have.
Alright, Mr. Drunk, love you.
During the attack. They put the pillow under her head. Feeling sorry for what they've done and make them comfortable if they could.
Ugh.
It's a chaotic and confusing crime scene. And there are clear indicators that the perpetrator tried to cover their tracks.
I looked around the apartment and you could tell where somebody had tried to clean up some blood and stuff. You know, there was a lot of blood in different places in the bathroom where you could see somebody tried to wipe up